get it going, you guys. You guys ready for a great morning? Go on, do me a favor, text your accountability partner if you are looking around and you don't see that they are on. Today's going to be really special. Today, this is my second favorite training of the series, and that's today. Today, we're going to talk about a lot of things that we've been talking about. But honestly, you guys, so many of you guys that are on right now, it is March 31st. At the beginning of this month, when we started this series, I said that this would be probably one of the biggest months and most incredible months that we have ever seen as a family. Many of you guys have known this because you've been around for a while, but there's just something very, very intensely special about this group. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but if you don't know, what do they say? Now you know. But there's just something really impressive about this group. I mean, every single month, almost for like the last 4 years, we have gone out there and we've helped more and more people change their lives. I mean, this is real stuff. And one thing that I've fallen in love about our business model, is because there are real lives being changed. How do we know that? If your life has been changed and been touched by some way, can you just put a 1 in the chat group right now? I mean, from what we do, whether we decide to do something one day or we don't decide to do something one day, that literally means that is the difference between someone starting a whole new journey within their life or not. And I don't say that lightly, and I know that to be true because I have gone to cities and I've left cities, and within 3 months, I've had 50, 60, 70 people get started. And then I think back and I say, wow, what if I didn't go? Like, what if I didn't go on that trip? What would that mean? I've had so many stories of people rising up and literally changing everything. I could tell you a story about a woman named Terry Limby. Oh, I'm not even going to get into it. John Leach, you can get me preaching up in here, man. I'm just saying that what we do is special. And this is a special group. And again, we have broken more special records. This is just kind of what we do. I anticipate the same being in April, then in May, then in June, then July. I just don't see it stopping ever because we are actually doing the fundamentals. So today we're going to talk about structural coaching. We're going to talk about doing the work. We're going to have a blast. We're going to talk about we're going to talk about what's possible for you in this business. I'm looking at, the Jerry Perez's and the Kathleen's, and, you have no clue what's possible for you with this business that you have right now. I had no clue. Most people don't have a clue. And so my intention is, by the end of the day, whether you want to do it or not, it's up to you. This is all our individual business. It is my job to show you what's possible. I remember one of my mentors said, you can lead a horse of water, but you can't make them drink, but you can salt their oats. You can get them thirsty. So today I'm about to get you guys thirsty. And then the ones that want to drink, go out there and drink, fill up your cup, have it runneth over so you can live in abundance and go give it to more people. The ones that don't want to drink, it's okay. Sometimes it's all right to walk around really thirsty. Then hopefully we kind of figure it out. So let's jump into this thing. You guys good? Okay, I'm thirsty, man. I'm ready. So let me get into this. We got a great lineup for you guys today, and we're going to have these guys come on and rock it. Let me just go through some preliminary things. And I got my water right here, Emily. Don't hate. I've been drinking it. I'm ready. I got to get ready for Dominican Republic and Peru. So let me share my screen. First of all, let me say this before we get into this. Congratulations to all of you guys that are just killing it this month. I mean, there are still last I looked in the reports, I think that there was 30 people close to executive director and I don't even know the real number, but it was over 20 people that were close to fully integrated business coach. So I want to encourage you guys. We have helped so many people on the last day of the month go out there and help so many people. I mean, I've worked with coaches on the last day of the month where we've brought on 5, 6 clients and have sponsored 1 or 2 coaches. So if you're thinking, well, it's not possible, I'm here to tell you everything is possible with this group because you got people that are invested in you. And literally, I had people text me at 11 o'clock last night and I was responding. Like, that's what sort of family we have. So just know that it is possible. There's no doubt about it. So let's jump into this thing. You guys stop yelling at me. I'm going to get to the thing that's going to help us get to the thing. Okay, so you guys, please do me a favor. Let's link arms as a family for the next hour. Let's get really focused. If you don't have a pen and paper, then please grab one. And let's see if we can turn off the devices and the distractions and things like that. If you got kids running around, just tell them to go outside for the next hour. No, I'm just kidding. Take care of the kids. But let's see if we can get focused, because today I'm really going to start to teach you guys the foundations of how to essentially create whatever it is that you want in your life through this business. Isn't that powerful? Isn't it cool if you woke up, you went into work on Monday and your boss said, hey, today I'm going to teach you how to create anything that you want in your life. You probably show up for work that day, right? Well, that's what's about to happen today. So let's talk about something that we've been talking about basically from the beginning of our first boot camp, and that's how to build your funnel for massive clients. How do we do that? It is a very simple formula. Now, following it may not be so simple, and that's only because we have ego and we don't know how to work in structure yet. And, we still are going to do things that we're going to discuss in bootcamp 5 and 6. And that's, taking personal responsibility, playing above the line, all that stuff. But how do we do it? It's very simple. We're going to continue to do our 3 by 3 by 3 daily. We're going to continue to get the word out. We're going to continue to start conversations. Those things, those actions every single day are going to lead to things that we call health assessments, whether we are directly during our conversations, moving those conversations to the phone and having health assessments, or we're talking to whomever we're talking to and we're asking them to connect us with the people in their lives that may be hurting and suffering like we were just a little bit ago. Either way, it's going to lead to a health assessment. If you want to do more health assessments throughout the week, guess what you only have to do? Start more conversations. So from those health assessments, then people are going to get started. What do? We have impeccable client support. And we're going to integrate those clients. Integrated clients are going to lead to referrals, and then that's going to lead to a massive client base. So we always start with building our funnel with a list. The list goes to starting conversations. The starting conversations, we take it to the phone, we do the health assessment, we get the word out, we start building referrals. Then we have clients, or we're following up integrated clients, and those integrated clients turn to coaches. You see how it works? We are building a funnel. Is everyone going to be ready right now? No, stop that. I wasn't ready for 6 months. It took me a long time to come. I thought that this program was for, older women. I thought you had to be like 60 to do this program. So your clients don't know. They are just trying to figure things out. So we just focus on falling in love with the process and building a funnel. Yeah, Linda Davis, I thought 60. So building your funnel for massive coaches. How do we do that? We always start with a list. Can you guys please put in the chat group, what do we always start with? A list, a list, a list, a list. Why? So when we wake up, We know what we are going to do. We know who we're going to talk to. We're intentional. We're focused. We understand we're not just kind of having a fly by the night business. Oh, well, I'll just talk to, well, if this person, well, I guess if I'm scrolling on Facebook, no, we wake up knowing exactly who we're going to be talking to. So plant seeds, we drip coaching, we do I plus Q equals A, which we really had. Michelle Obama did an incredible job on it last week, and we're going to do an incredible job on it this week as we really jump into a sponsoring week. We approach, we invite to explore. We send trilogy videos before they explore. We actually explore. We explore where in their life is there an opening that coaching can actually satisfy. We start them as a coach. If they don't start at a coach, then we just follow up. We continue to invite, we continue to layer, and we repeat. So please take a screenshot of these slides because this is literally the same steps that we do over and over and over again to build our funnel. So we talked about this a little bit last week, but I want to touch on it again because this business is simple, but it's not always easy. Why is it not always easy? Because there's three key areas that we really want to get strong in to build the formula for success. Now, these areas are going to require a little bit of commitment. The first one being our skill sets. Skill sets really comes down to practice. We want to do things over and over and over again while having our coach us on how to shift a little bit so that we can get better with our skills. It's just like anything else that we do in life that we're really good at. It just takes practice. You guys walk very, very well right now, but before you can walk, you were crawling, and then you're climbing up on the side of a table or a side of a couch or a side of a wall. You fell down a lot, then you got up again, then you fell down again, then you got up again. Meanwhile, that is called practice. How did you get really good at walking? You practice. You did it over and over and over again. So if you want to get really good at health assessments, guess what you're going to do over and over and over again? If you want to get good at your story, guess what you're going to do over and over and over again? If you want to get good with how to invite, guess what you're going to do? You're going to do it over and over and over again. You're going to take time when nobody's watching and those hours that you're at home in the mirror, thinking about this thing, doing it over and over and over again so that you can get better with your skill sets. Many coaches won't put the time in and they wonder why they're not having the success that they want because you're not getting better with your skills. It's just how it is. The next thing is our mindset. Many coaches come into coaching. Let me just say this. Many human beings walk around in life with terrible concepts. Their mindset is so completely warped that it's never going to allow them to get to the success that they actually crave for in their life. So we have a growth mindset and we have someone that's a fixed mindset. When I came into this business, my mindset was clearly fixed. I mean, if I wasn't successful right away, I took that as a sign that I need to give up and I need to quit. That was my mindset. I didn't have a growth mindset. I didn't say things like the obstacle is the way. I wasn't looking to fail so that I can get to my next success. I wasn't looking for challenges. I wasn't looking, I was still blaming everyone else for me not having the success I want. I didn't like to try new things. I did not have a growth mindset. I didn't come into this thinking it's the last day of the month. I really want to go out there and support another 2 or 3 clients today so that I can reach my own independent goal. I would have said, well, I guess it didn't happen. We'll just see what happens. That was my mindset. I didn't know how to create things. I just allowed things to happen to me. I had a fixed mindset. Most people do. So we have to learn how to change that. And the last thing is just action. Listen, nothing's going to happen if nothing happens. We have to do the work. That is the most important part of this whole business. I love people. In fact, I fall in love for people. I cry for people daily. I want them, my clients, and all of the coaches as part of our family. I want to see them rise up and just be spectacular. I can help them with their skills. Your mentors can help you with your mindset. The one thing that we can never ever do is give you desire. That's got to come from the pit of your own underbelly to where you say, I'm hungry. Like I'm ready to go and I'm going to do the action. I'm going to do the work no matter what. So we'll talk about working in structure. So I'm showing this income disclosure because, today we are going to talk about probably some numbers, some finances. And I know that this was a little bit of a touchy subject for me, really starting this business, because I know that many of us are thinking, well, what is possible? What's possible for me? And what I'm telling you is possible is you can literally create anything that you want in this world and in this life with this business if everyone write down if, please, and circle it. Everyone write down if, please, and circle it. You can have all that you want, whatever that is, if. And that if is if you will just help enough others get what they want first. And that's the way it's supposed to be. It's a law. And so, what I want to convey to you guys before I start bringing on our speakers is generally when we start this business, we have no clue what's possible. Generally, when we start, it's because it's why I started. I got people asking, I've lost some weight. I think that I got a couple hours throughout the week. I know that I want more for my life. I just don't know that it's possible for me. And I don't know if I'm capable of doing it. And I really start this because it seems fun. The community is awesome. And quite frankly, my coach kept saying, you would be a great coach and you should do it. You should do it. You should do it. I had no clue what was possible, but now I do. And so I want to bring on, you guys all know her. She's rocking it. She's probably have the fastest growing organization right now. These guys are just on fire out there in Reno and Nevada. But I want to bring on Anica to really highlight for us maybe what has changed for her in terms of what she believes is possible from the time she got going last year at some point. I don't even know when that was to now. What was that? How's that evolution been? And what does she believe was possible when she first got going, and what she believes is possible now? So, Anica, good morning. You there?
Morning.
Morning.
Oh, thank you. I think I want to set precedents and letting you guys know that we all really come into this for different reasons. All of us are really unique. We have our own unique stories. Um, for Jeremiah and I, we really got into this probably for a really different reason than most. And it was a disaster that was a gift that we really didn't see as a gift when it happened. August 12th of 2016, our son went into the hospital with a really rare condition that only 6 kids worldwide had ever been diagnosed with. And as a parent and an individual, you really never think that that's going to happen. And he almost died. And we had one of those life-shifting moments that you kind of question, what the heck am I doing? And before that, we were stuck in this mindset that Jamil talks about of non-growth. It's all about me and never having really much purpose except to get by day in and day out. And everything that I thought that had mattered in life and that we thought that mattered in life totally shifted at that time, right? Luckily enough, he got better, but that's when things really started to shift for us. We really started to figure out, hey, we're in our 30s. Jeremiah was 40. What do we want for our life now? When I started coaching, Jacob had just gotten better. And I was like, I just want to stay home with him. I want to be there for my baby. I want to live life with him. I don't want to be working anymore, 12-hour days, being, exhausted and upset and mentally unhealthy and really financially unhealthy. But I had a decision. It was either go back to school and become a nurse and try to find a way to make more money. But I didn't want to spend 50 grand and go back to school and not spend time with him. Or I had the opportunity to dive into coaching and say, hey, I'm watching a couple other people do really amazing with this. What if I could stay home with him and create this thing? And really just maybe bring in a few extra bucks, because Jeremiah was doing okay. But what if I could start giving back to all those people that had helped us, in the hospital, and complete strangers? So at first, I really started looking at this as kind of like a client from the client mentality of, oh, I'm going to help clients get healthy. If I could just make $500 extra a month, maybe pay off my Pathfinder bill, pay off some of these medical bills that were just enormous. I kind of had some baby goals. And then within a month and a half, I hit executive director. And I kind of started making more than I ever had before in a full-time job. And I was like, well, what if? I really started dreaming. And the stories of people that I was touching on program, I was hearing people's lives being saved, people coming off of medications, people regaining their life and purpose back. And what I really started to do was do some inner reflection and realize, well, that's kind of what's happening to me too, like financially. And so all of these shifts started happening for me just in about a month and a half to 2 months in coaching. And what I really started to do was listen. I really started to listen to people and listen and care. And so what I started doing was working on myself a lot. And I never realized the self-work that needed to be done, the shifts that needed to happen here. The biggest thing that I started to discover was that my physical weight was a direct representation of the mental weight and the financial weight that I had been carrying over the years, and my belief systems and the clay that had been thrown on me over the years, and how I was allowing that to rule my life and keep me in this place of complacency. And I was so tired of it. I was so tired of it. And when I really started to realize, I'm not even going to say the majority of us, but all of us have this clay, this weight, these belief systems that weren't serving us, and really start listening and caring and sharing and diving into all of these things that just weren't serving me and humanity as a whole, things just started to go boom. I started just genuinely talking to people, making coffee dates with everybody, really just being social and loving on people. And when that started to happen is when things started to go boom for me. That quote that Jamil just shared with us is really about success for others. When we really start caring about other people and helping them get to where they want to be in life, that's where sky's the limit. You help others, and in that, the purpose starts to shine, and the financial reward and benefit that comes from that is amazing. To now I look at my finances and I go, oh, wow, I got paid for that. Like, it doesn't even matter to me anymore. because what I'm seeing is people getting their lives back. And that's what really matters in this. This family and helping each other is really where it's at.
So good. So good. I think it's important because I never want to lose a sight of what we do is all about people, and it's authentic, and it's relationships, um and it's service. But when I grew up, and I know that there's so many that's like this, when I grew up in a family and sort of a mindset that it was either or. You either had to have a heart and a passion for people and go and serve them, but not financially be anywhere close to where you wanted to be. Or financially, you could just be killing it, but you were selfish and arrogant and were not caring about other people. This is just the way that I grew up. And so, what this business has taught me is no, it doesn't have to be that way. You go out there and you do good. And from that, um, my goodness, you can really start to design and craft a life for you and your family that you never even knew was possible. And that's what I see not only with Anica, but I literally, I wake up and I spend like 10 minutes just scrolling on Facebook because I see all these coaches within our family rocking it out, just killing. I've seen just their posts inspire me every day because I knew that just a couple months ago they were not able to do those things that they're even posting about now. So it's crazy. So I want to bring on another incredible coach. I believe that she's on, Emily Flores, to really talk to us about the same thing. What did she sort of believe was possible back then as opposed to what she knows is possible now? So, Emily, good morning. Are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Emily Flores, and I became a health coach in September of 2013. And that was about 3 months into my 4-month-long weight loss journey. And I made a commitment last night to be very, very honest this morning. My heart's pounding because, it's easy to get on and train you guys on stuff that I've gotten good at over the years, but to speak about kind of where I was at back then, it's like, oh my gosh. So I'm going to admit something to you right now that I normally don't tell people. And I did not become a coach because it was my heart's desire. And it's hard to say that out loud today, but that's the truth. I had a full-time career as a therapist. And at that time, that was my heart's desire. I always felt so damn blessed just to know what my life's purpose was. I saw my friends struggling to figure out kind of what to do with their lives. Yet I knew, like in my heart of hearts, that I was put on this planet to help people. And I felt very confident that I was really good at what I did. I took pride in being good at my job because not many were. It really took a certain kind of person to earn the trust of the population that I worked with. They were, 16 to 25-year-old kids with severe mental health diagnosis. They were on probation. They were former foster youth. They were kids that really trusted no one, but they trusted me. And I never took that lightly. I felt like it was my duty to do this work for the rest of my life. But then I found myself on maternity leave with my firstborn, experiencing some pretty bad, postpartum stuff, just fighting back tears daily, because every single day to me represented one day closer to me having to go back to work. And I didn't want to go back. I really couldn't even envision it happening. I would try and I would just start crying. The thought of answering crisis calls and psych hospital intakes and 5150s that could take 4 hours just made me literally sick to my stomach. The thought of having to do paperwork on my days off instead of being focused on my son made me sick. The idea of dropping him off with strangers at a daycare made me sick. But we live in Los Angeles, and we didn't live the kind of charmed life where one of us could just decide, I don't want to go to work tomorrow and I'm going to stay home now. That just wasn't my life. I went to my first Take Shape for Life event. We were Take Shape for Life back then, and they passed out the income disclosure. And then Jamil, this guy that I went to high school with, a real person that I could trust, was up front saying he was something called a global director. And I remember tracing my finger down the income disclosure, and my jaw just dropped when I saw what a global director earned per month. Because I only needed like a sixth of that to stay home. And I remember I went up to him afterwards and I held it up and I was like, is this right? Like, is this right per month? And he just smiled and nodded. And I was like, okay. And I started coaching. And I have to tell you, I did not want a hobby. I did not care about creating a community around me. All I cared about was my son. I needed a replacement income and I needed it fast. I didn't have a clue what that looked like beyond needing 22 clients. My first goal was ED. You see, back in 2013, like, we didn't talk about the blended path. It was not encouraged. It was not suggested. So I just did every single thing that was suggested. I asked a lot of, why, and do I really have to? And, I made it very clear to Jamil that I didn't always like what he was suggesting, but I always did it. No matter what, I did it. And I wasn't too proud to think that I knew better. And every time something uncomfortable would come up, I would just look at Chico, my son, and I would find the strength to do what I needed to do. So it took me about 6 weeks to hit ED. I took a big sigh of relief, sat back, and I just maintained ED for a while. I didn't want coaches. In my mind, that would take a lot of work. And I really wanted to do the least amount of work necessary, because you have to remember, coaching was not my heart's desire at that time, but my son was. And I started to realize that maybe I was good at this coaching thing. And, we started earning a lot more money and crazy trips. And I didn't even know I was qualifying for these things. I didn't know what the heck it was. I didn't understand numbers, titles, ranks, none of it. But I started to realize that health coaching was not at all what I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to help people lose weight. I thought I was going to walk them through Dr. A's book. I thought that's what I was doing. And instead, I really started falling in love with what I was doing. And I was making connections with my clients. They were becoming friends. My life was getting richer. The phone would ding and I would be excited to see who it was. I felt my postpartum really lifting, and I started to feel more confidence and positivity than I had in years. And as much as I, wanted to be and loved being a stay-at-home mom, I quickly became a little lost without having what I felt was a purpose beyond that. I needed to have something else in my life besides being a mom. I really needed to feel like I was living my life's purpose. And it was around this time that coaches started coming, whether I wanted them to or not. And this is what really made me fall in love with health coaching, because suddenly I felt like I was doing something that may have the power to transform lives, even in a bigger way than I had as a therapist. And that's really what changed everything for me. So today, 100% my heart's desire is to coach. And I would fight tooth and nail if someone ever tried to tell me I couldn't coach anymore. I know this is a life program, not a weight loss program. I know that there are millions of people in this country whose lives would be transformed and saved with an extra $500 a month. And to know that I have a tool to help someone do that in a week, in less than a week, if that's their desire, that feels incredible. Hands down, hardest thing I've ever done in my life, because if you want to be good at coaching, you have to be willing to take an honest look at yourself, your behavior, your actions, your thoughts. You have to look in the mirror every single day, and most people aren't willing to do that. It's easier to go to a job and punch a time clock and know that you're going to get a paycheck every 2 weeks. But the freedom and abundance that is possible with coaching makes all of these growing pains 100% worth it. Every time I've cried and wanted to throw in the towel was always during a period of incredible growth for me. So I just encourage you to put your head down and push through those moments, because you will come out the other side so triumphant. The people that really walk away from this business, it's not that they lack intelligence or potential. They're just unwilling to sit with that struggle and how uncomfortable that can feel sometimes. But luckily for me, I kind of lived in that struggle, honestly, most of my life. So that feeling's super familiar to me. And it made me a fighter, and it made me push through those moments that kind of suck sometimes, you know? So my last minute tips for you is this. 1, it is going to get tough sometimes, but please don't run. It's about to get really good, I promise. 2, you are going to reach those big goals that you've set for yourself, and you're going to want to sit back and chill because you just ran a marathon. Do not chill. Keep jogging in place. Please keep your muscles warm. Like, do not just sit back. And then lastly, please dare to dream a little bigger. Like, every single day, you should know by now that we do not settle in this business. So whatever your desire can be, it's yours. But you have to be brave enough to say it out loud to your mentorship team so that they can show you how to get there. Thank you.
That is so good. I mean, just write this down. Success leaves clues. She just left about 19 clues. I mean, that is so good. Thank you so much. You know, I remember Emily talks about 2013. I remember Emily coming down to my tiny apartment building in Long Beach with Chico, carrying him, and we were talking about things that we wouldn't even talk about today. I mean, like, but that's where we were. Like, what's possible is incredible. And I think she said something that's so important. If you really take apart this whole business model from the client side or the coach side and you put it back together, you're going to find one thing in one word, and that's called abundance. Everything about what we do is about living an abundant life, whether a client or a coach. And when she said, perfectly depicts what Optavia is. So I want to go to Phoenix and bring on another incredible leader. And I remember the first time I talked to her, this is why you never listen to what people say, by the way. Never listen to what they say, only watch what they do. Because Carol Ann told me she wasn't going to coach. She told me she didn't want to earn any healthy finances. She told me all these things that sometimes, whether you'll just sit back and let people amaze you by their actions. Don't listen to what they say. Just watch what they do, because what they do will really show you who they are inside. So Caroline, can you come on and sort of explain to us what you originally thought was possible and kind of what you're thinking now?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny that you started with that, Jamil, because that's where I was going to start too. So, you know, my journey as a coach started, unlike everybody else on this call that's speaking today. I had no intention ever of coaching. You know, I am very introverted naturally. I don't like to speak, and yet here I am speaking. I don't like to speak in front of people. I don't like to be on the phone. I used to say, I remember telling Jamil this so many times, like when we first started, I hate to talk on the phone. Do I really have to call people? Do I really have to talk to people? I just hate to talk on the phone. Like I don't know what it is, but that's just my personality. And so I never had any intention ever of coaching. So I came through my journey as a client. I dropped 38 pounds in about 4 months. My coach had started probably about 2 months into my client journey, telling me how I was supporting so many people in our group, the Healthy Habits group, how I was such a nurturer, how I just loved on people, how I would be perfect as a coach. And I wanted nothing to do with it. I'm like, nope, not me. I'm happy. I'm perfectly fine. My husband and I are, serving in ministry at our church. I had a job. I'm like, I'm perfectly fine. But as I moved through that journey as a client and I started to change myself, I started to go from this person who was, extremely depressed and full of anxiety and just miserable in life. And I started to kind of, it's kind of like a flower opening up. I kind of just started to open up and kind of, it just revealed, a happy person and someone who was excited for life again. And so I started thinking about my journey as a client, and I had 2 people on my heart that I just could not stop thinking about. And that was my mother-in-law and my father-in-law. And as my coach continued to drip on me and talk to me about how awesome I would be as a coach, I could not stop thinking about my in-laws. And so I finally said, okay, you know what? I'll go ahead. I'll coach because I know my in-laws will listen to what I have to say. They probably won't be coached by someone they don't know. So I'll go ahead and sign up and coach. So I did that. Little did I know that there were so many people that were watching me because of, our ministry and, kind of being in the limelight at church, out in the front where people saw us. They kind of saw my transformation. And as soon as people realized that I was coaching, I had all these people wanting to start on program. So it took me a little while to see it. But in 3 months, I was executive director. So, it happened that fast for me just because of people seeing my journey. But like Jamil said, when we first started discussions, I think we probably had about 3 or 4 calls before I ever told Jamil anything that I might like to accomplish financially or for our family, anything like that. Because honestly, I was so skeptical and I just didn't believe enough in myself to be able to do it. And I thought that I was perfectly fine in my position, where I was working at our church. But I finally started to see potential in this business after, a couple of months when I hit executive director and those paychecks started hitting my bank account. And I was like, wow, you really can, earn a living actually loving on people and supporting them and serving them. And so once I saw that, I started to open up a little bit more when Jamil would ask me, what do you want? What do you really want from this business? And it started to really shift and started to change. And, when I came into the business, we were probably about $25,000 in debt. We have 4 kids. Like I said, we've worked in ministry, and you don't get paid a lot in ministry. Pastors and, their families serve with their hearts, and they spend hour upon hour working with people, but we don't get paid very well. So it's always been a lifestyle for us to kind of live in that space. I just never really expected that there would ever be an opportunity for anything more than that until I started coaching, until I started getting those paychecks. And then I realized, oh my gosh, like this health coaching business for me is just another arm of ministry. I can still love on people as a pastor's wife, and, I can meet their needs and help them spiritually. And now I have another piece where I can help them with their physical needs. And so I started to really dream and started to think about what we could do. I started to think about what will happen if we pay off this debt. And we have done that, guys. We've paid off over $20,000 in debt. So, it's all about thinking big and realizing that you guys have an amazing opportunity in your hands here. And oh my goodness, when you get to wake up every day and you get to think about, who do I get to love on today? Who do I get to serve today? Who's out there that needs me? And you wake up excited for the day. I can't tell you ever a job in my life, and I'll be 46 this year, ever a job in my life that I wake up in the morning and I'm like, let's get started on this day. Like, who's out there today? And that's what I get with this business. So it's really changed my life in that way. But I can give you guys, something that is amazing to me. And I'm going to try not to get emotional on this, but when I started in this business, I mentioned that I was working at a church, and my husband and I had been pastoring there for 16 years. What I didn't know was that this business opportunity was God's gift to us, because I had no idea, but God was moving us out of that space. He knew before that I needed this business because he was going to move my husband out of that job. And my husband took a $20,000 pay cut. There's something about $20,000. I don't know why that number keeps coming up. But he took a $20,000 pay cut when he left that job. And we just planted a new church. But without my business, I don't know where we would be. I've been able to make up the difference in that pay cut and then some. And we've been just fine. But God gave us this business because he knew that we were going to need it. And for those of you who are my friends on Facebook, you probably saw my daughter got engaged last night. So I'm not concerned about paying for her wedding because I know I can do it because I have the funds through this business and I have the capability. So, I started out not believing there was anything ever here for me, that I was just going to help two people. And it has been incredible in the almost 3 years that I've been coaching, what this business has done for us and how it's blessed our lives. And I've seen so many people, also my coaches, be able to change their lives through the healthy finances. But if I could give you guys any tip, it would be just dream big. Think about big, because it's out there. You're capable of it, and you can absolutely achieve it through this amazing gift that we have.
So good. It has been one of my life's blessings to mentor you, Carol Ann. There's been so many times where I told you, you're being refined. This is happening for a reason. Like, we got to toughen up because you're being called to do incredible things. And now we're just getting to peek into that picture, by the way. Like I keep saying, watch what happens in another 5 years. You are being refined, my friend, for really, really big things. And it's not just you. It's all of us that are ready to go and do the work and take it. It is all possible. So I want to come back out to California, and let's hear from Global Director, soon to be Presidential Director, Justin Aveni.
I don't know how I'm going to follow these three ladies right now. You got to put me on the back burner, man. My tip's going to be simple because I think there's only so many tips you can give that make sense. I want you, as you hear these stories right now, to start thinking of people that were similar situations. And I hope we're all right now having a mental shift of this is not just a weight loss program by any means. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the weight loss is only going to stay off if these other two areas are in balance. If people are mentally stressed out, if people are financially stressed out, the weight will come back on, because the first thing we can control as a human being is our own personal body. And if that means sacrificing more hours of sleep, if that means making a quick decision at the McDonald's drive-thru to get to the next place they have to be, to work 2 jobs, whatever that is, the weight's only going to stay off at a short-term goal. Everybody should be a coach somewhere in their life, whether it's $2, whether it's $200, whether it's $200,000, doesn't matter. Somebody needs this to balance their life out. So I'm going to do my best to kind of share my story with you guys. I'm really excited about today. I get excited every time I get to speak. It's always an honor to share something with you guys. I came into this strictly for the business. And just to start out, if I hadn't started this 5 years ago, I would be that average 50-pound overweight construction worker in the orange shirt with the blue jeans and the work boots, because if I wanted to start a family, if I wanted to be able to do something, the only thing I would be able to sacrifice is my own body to figure out that time for those finances. So It took me about 7 months to show up. A little over 5 years ago, Jamil approached me and was like, "Hey man, this would be a great opportunity for you. You're into health and fitness. You know, he was good friends with my wife. Obviously they went to lunches and stuff, and me and Jenny were kind of going at each other's throats here and there because we were young and I wasn't making much money. She was going to school to be a nurse. And, you know, obviously she can't work. If any of you can know a nursing career, or when they're studying for it, there is no time for a job if you want to be successful at that. I was working 60 to 70 hours a week. My boss at the time, I was in construction as a driver. You're supposed to get paid for drive time, but I probably got paid 40 to 45 hours a week. I got a $3 raise in a 5-year period, making $15 an hour. And it was always a battle, you know, traffic, whatever it was always a battle to get paid. So Jamil reached out to me and he said, "Hey man, this would be a great opportunity for you." And of course, me, my ego being so big, it's like, dude, I can get a 6-pack on my own. What is this packaged food? I don't need that. And as we all share with you guys, you know, love on people where they're at until they're ready. And the best part I can share with you is they say pain pushes till vision pulls. You'll hear me say that quite a lot every time I speak because it's so important. 7 months later, I'm up on a roof and I'm getting my butt chewed out. And some of my coaches know my favorite line is, you know, there's the construction lingo, like go get the effing hammer. But then there's the demeaning lingo, like, hey, you dumb merp, 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 right? And at that point, I looked over at my boss and I had made that decision. And guess who popped into my head? Jamil. I went home that day and I said, all right, dude, what's this program? What's this packaged food? What's this, you know, what's going on here? Let's see what's up. And I don't even think at that time he knew I was going to be a coach or I was going to sign up for my coaching kit right then. I was just going to try the program out as far as he was concerned. Could I afford it at the time? I didn't think so. We all know that the food is the food and that's fine, but the investment is the coaching kit. But I figured in my head at the time, if I was going to go in the hole, I'm going to go all in. And so I threw everything on a credit card. It was like $556 at the time, which was the most scariest thing ever in my life because that would have took me 3 weeks somehow of working Saturdays and Sundays to pay it off if this didn't work. But as two wonderful ladies told me not to use this line, I'm just telling you back in the day what my headspace was, is Becky Flamong and Karen Elstrom finally told me a couple of years ago, said, you got to stop saying this because it's not true. But I was too stupid to have concepts, to be honest with you. Jamil would tell me to jump and I would say, how high? So I ordered my food and my coaching kit that day. I was all in. I said, look, dude, you're making this amount of money. I just wanted to make about $2,000 a month. That would cover my bills. I made about $2,700 at the time. We went over everything that would be good for me to just kind of keep me out of that space. I figured it'd take me about 90 days to do that. I actually did that my first month. I don't know if you guys know the line, ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice. I was saying everything under the sun that you weren't supposed to say, but I was saying it to a lot of people and it didn't matter. My energy far exceeded my skill set by far. I did not want a Facebook. I hated Facebook. I thought it was a drama triangle. I didn't know how to use a smartphone. I had a flip phone. I did not know how to send out emails. I was CCing people's emails to everybody when I wasn't supposed to. So for you people out there that are panicking that you don't know what you're doing and it's a scary thought, don't worry. Justin was there too. And I share that with you because it's really important. Some of us get scared with technology. And honestly, I was scared every day. In fact, Jamil probably messaged me 5 times a day. Look, dude, you can't do that. You can't send people's emails to other people. You can't be messaging people on their timeline. Hey, call me. Right? I'm talking like the raw deal. So I just share that with you because just don't be afraid of technology. Grow into it. You know, this is one of our growth spots. So anyways, I came back, hit the ground running. I made $3,100 my first month. I was very inspired at an event. We had a Kim Fisk event about a week and a half after I had decided to quit my job and go full force with this. And I went up there and I was inspired. I had to borrow $372 to get up there because Jamil says, look, if you want to get the bigger picture, then this is just some diet or some meal plan. You need to really understand what's going on. So I borrowed $372. I flew up to Salt Lake City. I was fortunate enough to stay in his room. And the 400 people that were there, I was not used to their heart. You know, I'm used to the California high. Hey, Justin, how you doing? I'm good. And then they walk off, right? This was more or less, how you doing? Where are you from? Do you have any friends? Do you have any family? What do you want to get out of this weekend? What do you like to do for fun? and they're kind of just sitting there staring at you, and they're waiting to hear more about you. And that's just not something I was used to. So I came back, I was excited. One of my biggest shifts I'll share with you is I wasn't tech savvy. I didn't set up my direct deposit. I think this is a funny story. I called Jamil in a panic. I'm like, dude, it's been like 5 weeks, bro. I haven't gotten any income coming in. And he's like, well, did you set up your direct deposit? And I'm like, dude, come on, man. You don't know. I don't know that stuff. And I didn't really know what was going on. And so my mom calls me and she goes, hey, you got a letter in the mail, 2 letters in the mail. I think they're checks from TS Take Shape or something. I was like, open them up. Right. So I had her open them up and she's like, wow. She's like, these are some pretty big checks. And I said, right. And I've only been doing this 5 weeks just by helping people. I was able to match my income. And so I moved forward. One of the next things I can say is Jamil, about 7 months in, he had us write down our goals on a piece of paper at our Wednesday breakfast we have. And, probably 7 months before that, I would have been like, you're crazy. I might write them down and they may be cool. But one of the biggest ones is I wanted to buy myself a truck. I wanted to buy a boat. I wanted to buy a house. I wanted to start a family. I mean, obviously not in that order, but those are things I wanted to do. And a year and a half later, I was able to do that, all 4 of them. And that was really kind of cool for me. Be in a position to do that and be able to help people at the same time was awesome. Another thing I shared, and I think I shared this last time, is a shift for me from when it came from me, mine, to we, them, was Kim Fisk reaching out to me after posting on Facebook twice about, hey, my phone must have been off. I know you're in California. And she came and visited, or she asked me to come pick her up, and basically said, look, she goes, are you excited with where your business is at? And I said, yeah. She's like, but, would you be interested in doing something further? She said, are you really excited where your business is at? I'm like, no. And she says, well, neither am I. And probably 4 months after that, this lady that really shifted my head into helping others at a high volume. I was up in Isabella Lake, Kernville. I was up in Kernville, and Sarah Sanders, who's on here, probably knows. I was at a buddy's wedding, and I was on a phone call with a lady who was crying. She's working 14-hour days. She's in her mid-50s. They were just exploiting her through her job. And I thought in my head, I was like, wow, I could really help her do what I can do. And I can really help her do that. So I'll go real fast because I'm starting to run out of time. But she was $20,000 in debt. After 29 years of marriage, she had less than $1,000 in her savings account. She was working 14-hour days in her mid-50s with no exit strategy. She was in so much pain. She was about to lose everything that she was going to have. She was on 4 prescription medications. She had fibromyalgia. She had Hashimoto. She had all this stuff. Within 3 years, guys, she was $20,000 in the green. She was $20,000 when your kid comes in the room. $20,000 in the green. So that went from $20,000 in the hole all the way past $40,000, $20,000 in the green. She was able to quit her full-time job. She was able to purchase a second home and buy a new car without selling her first home. She was able to move closer to her grandkids. She gets to spend every day with those kids. She was able to lose 55 pounds in 5 months and get off of 4 of her 5 prescription medications. That right there is what this program is about. If I can do that with one person each month for the rest of my life, I'd be stoked. Start that path with these people, fall in love with their story, and really know that this is not weight loss. The weight will not stay off if your healthy mind and your healthy finances are not in play. You're setting a short-term goal. Dr. A's analogy, I'll leave it with this. If you're on a boat and you see somebody out in the ocean drowning and the waves are kind of big and they're sitting there paddling and they're trying to stay afloat, offering them the 5-in-1 meal plan is like throwing them a life preserver and driving off in the boat. Say, here you go. You got the life preserver. You should do good. The sharks are still going to swim. The storms are still going to come into that ocean. The ocean's called life. The waves are going to get bigger. Eventually, they're going to get tired. And maybe they'll even let go of that life raft and fall down into the ocean. Instead of offering them the full trilogy, which is throwing them a life preserver with a rope, and you pull them into that boat and you take them with you on your journey. So I'm
Powerful.
good, guys. I hope that was helpful.
I would say so. I would say so. You know, you guys, it is so important to dream and to dream big. And in all transparency, I mean, we're up at the hour. Are you guys okay with staying with me for another 15 minutes so I can take you through some things? You know, dream big. There's so many things that I see it every single day. People will not allow themselves to get intimate, to date themselves, to date what they really want. And I ask people all the time, well, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And they're so nervous to actually say what they want. And they're nervous to say it because they don't think it's possible for them. I am literally here telling you it is possible, and it is possible with this team of mentors, with this company, with this business that you have right now. If you write it down on the paper, if you can think it, you can achieve it. If you write it down on a piece of paper, I am telling you, it is possible. We are going to blow this thing up by doing what Justin's talking about, is creating these stories for people. And you're going to do it enough times, you're going to help people get what they want. And I guarantee you, you will start to get everything that you want. So stick with me for a second. If you guys have to go, that's cool. Please forgive me. This is just kind of, I don't know why I always go over in these trainings, but that's just how it is. It's a good stuff. Have you guys been getting value? So you're asking what is possible. If you're getting value from this, put a 2 in the chat group for me. If you have to go, we have the recording. We'll put the playback in there. But let's go on and start to uncover how do we do some of these things. So here's a progressive road on your coaching journey. So many of you guys, probably almost the majority of you guys, have moved from a new coach, and you've really locked in. You've grabbed arms. You allowed your coach to be hip to hip with you, your support team, and we've gotten you a senior coach. Once you get to senior coach, we're essentially going to ask you 3 very important questions. Are you having a blast? Do you love the feeling of helping other people move forward in their health and their life? We're going to say, have you started to notice the financial blessings that are starting to be deposited into your bank account? And lastly, we're going to say, do you want to move forward and help other people create what these first 5 to 6 people have done? And if you say yes, the next step for you is executive director. This is what you've heard everyone on the call say that they basically achieved within 6 to 8 weeks. Reaching executive director is not tough. Reaching executive director for our family of coaches, honestly, is like reaching senior coach these days. So this is the next step. We're going to do this with a combination of clients and coaches. And then from there, we're going to ask you the same 3 questions. Are you having a blast? Have you noticed more of those financial blessings? Do you want to move to the next step? If the answer is yes, then the next step for us is what we call fully integrated business coach. Now, we're going to guide you along this path. We're going to show you how to do it. What we don't tell you is you have to do it within a certain amount of time. That is up to you. We guide the path. You guide what how long that sort of takes. Now, for me, I didn't have a lot of time. When I actually sat down and decided what I wanted to do, how I wanted to live my life, I didn't want to take 4 or 5 years to start doing that. I wanted to do that now. So when I sat down and I really started thinking about what I wanted for my life, it just so happened that for me to accomplish those things, I needed to become what we call a global director. And I needed to become a global director because I looked on here and it said the average global director earned about $18,000 per month. Now, in all transparency, when we hit global director, we were not earning $18,000 a month. But when I looked at this, it wasn't the $18,000 that impressed me. is what it represented. It represented that stress was killing me, you guys. I was literally ready to become poor. I would rather be poor at that time than not have another stressful day. My life, I didn't know how to deal with it. And because of it, my marriage was crumbling. I was afraid that we're going to have a broken family. I mean, it is what it is. And for me to keep those things intact, it just so happened I needed to start earning about $18,000 per month. Because what that meant was my biggest stressor at the time was I didn't feel like my wife earned enough. It was driving me insane. And I figured if I could start earning this, I never had to have another financial fight again. This is a true story because I didn't care if she worked or not because this was enough. And so that's what I set my intentions on. So many of you guys are somewhere around here. Executive directors, you can see what they're sort of earning on a monthly basis. But from there, we're going to go to integrated executive director. We have so many folks that are on the verge of doing this now. And then from there, we're going to go to fully integrated business leader. That's what we call integrated global director. Can you imagine having this deposited into your account? What sort of margin would that allow for you? What would that allow you to do? What would that allow you to give? Who would that allow you to become? What would you have to be in order to start to get that? What I'm telling you is it's possible. Start thinking and dreaming bigger if you choose to. So once I got to global, I did the same thing. Actually, I didn't do this when I got to global. When I got to executive, no, it was when I got to global. When I got to global, I sort of did what Emily Flores did. She said she chilled out after she got to executive director. People chill out because they don't know how to work in structure. This is why you have things called plateaus. And this is how you start an oscillating cycle, by the way. Because we're not setting the next intentional goal for ourselves because we become comfortable. This is why our nation is like it is. So I chilled out here. And then I started thinking bigger. It was time for me to expand as a human being, which meant my business was going to expand. Then we went to presidential. Then I chilled out again. I didn't learn my lesson at presidential. We had some life happen. I chilled out. We got pregnant with our second kid during that time. And once I hit presidential, it should have probably only taken about 4 months to go integrated, but it took almost a year because I chilled out. I'll never, ever do that again. I've learned my lesson now. And now integrated. So whatever you want is possible. Let's really get into this. You guys take notes. I'm going to get you out of here by 8:15, 8:20. So how do we start to build and have a massive impact? Well, we start to do it with really starting adding coaches to our team. So one of the ways we start to do that is for you to start to understand the ratios. Right now, lots of you guys have a tremendous amount of clients. The challenge is your ratio is completely off because what we know is for about every 5 clients you have, there's at least one coach in there. And I say at least because as your skills get better, you're going to find 5 coaches in there. You're going to start to think like Justin Aveni said, where he said, everybody is a coach. Eventually, it is going to become that way. But at the beginning, there's at least one coach in every 5 clients. How do you know that? Well, these guys don't even know that they're a coach right now. I didn't know I was a coach. Justin didn't know he was a coach. Emily didn't know she was a coach. Carol Ann didn't know she was a coach. I talked to Anica about coaching in 2013. She did not start until 2017. She didn't know she was a coach. And yet we got all these people on this line telling these stories. What makes you think these people are not in your current client base? They are all over the place. The only problem is we are not doing a great job with locating them because to locate them is so simple. And that's what we're going to teach you guys how to do this week during our sponsoring bootcamp. You guys cool with that? So we have 5 to 9 clients. I know that I have 2 coaches in there. If I have 10 to 15 clients, there's at least 3 coaches in there. 16 to 20 clients, there's at least 4 coaches in there. So understanding this ratio really sets the precedent and the expectation, and this is how we extend our reach. Listen, there's only 24 hours in a day. You are only going to be able to help serve so many people. You're just one person. You're an amazing person, but you're just one person. If you have more people, part of your team, that's going to help you go out and help more people, now we can start to change the world. You guys agree? That's how you do it. And that's really where the financial blessings start to come in. Anytime you give more value to more people directly and indirectly, the world, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, is going to bless you more financially. So how do we start to do it? Again, it goes back to this list thing that I told you about. So we always start the beginning of the month with a brand new, fresh 100s list. This is going to be a list that's going to help you work strategically into where we're going to go and start authentic conversations. This is for if we don't have a list by the end of today, if you don't hear anything, can you please make a commitment to yourself and to me that we're going to start this process? What I've learned is coaches use what we train on as an a la carte. Well, this part of what they said sounds good. This part sounds simple. This part seems a little bit easy. This part doesn't stretch me, so I'll do those things. To have a really successful business, just like to have a really successful program, we cannot pick and choose. If I picked and I choose what I want to do as I'm doing the 5 and 1, guess what I would be? Overweight. I would be talking about a plateau in my health. When we pick and choose as an a la carte what we want to do in this business, guess what's going to happen? We are going to plateau. And we're going to be wondering and start to say things because it's going to be too disappointing. We're going to start to say things like, well, maybe this isn't for me. It is for you if you would stop picking and choosing what actually feels comfortable and do it all, like do this list. So how do we start to achieve anything that we want in the world? We're going to start to do something called working in structure. Please write down this word. It's called structural tension. So how does someone like Emily Flores come in and she sits down with me and I say, Emily, what do you want? What's important to you? What do you want to create? She says, I want to stay at home with my baby. I say, okay, awesome. We can do that. How much money are we going to need to earn in order for you to make that come true? She gives me a certain amount. So we are going to start, jumping ahead. So what we want to create, this is called our desired outcome. So we're going to, every single month as we're doing this map, is we're going to write out what is going on here? What you actually want for your life. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want to create? Most people are reactive. They just wake up and they just let the day take them wherever they're going to. We are going to be much brighter than that. We are going to be conscious leaders. We are going to create what we want for our lives. Like in a couple months, in 6 weeks, I'm going on a month trip to South America. I planned that trip 4 years ago. I sat down and I wrote a structural tension chart for myself and what I wanted to create. What did I want? I wanted to have an awesome spiritual awakening trip. And I wanted to be gone for a month, but I didn't want my income to suffer from it. So I planned that 4 years ago. Now it's about to happen. So determine, what do you actually want? For Emily, it was to stay at home. It just so happens that we were going to need to start earning about $2,500, $3,000 a month in order for that to happen. Now, at the bottom is the most important. This is your current reality. This is where we have to actually get honest with ourselves. Get honest with why your business or your program is not where you actually want it to be. Get honest where you're actually at in your life. And then all we have to do is just do some action steps, which is going to move us up every single day to where we get closer. So let's look at some real life examples. You guys cool? This one here, I think, is Sabrina Mays. Oh my gosh, what is going on? So let's look at this. I think this is Sabrina's, and this is one that we did in February. You can see that her determined outcomes, what she wanted to do was, and by the way, this is how you want your map to look. A messy map is the best map. When I look at this map, I get excited because I know that she's actually using this. This is something that you want to have, that you want to be taking with you every single day. You want to actually be looking at your goals. You want to be focused on this stuff. You want to wake up, look at what you want to create before you go to bed. You want to think about, what do I want to create? You can see these things that she wants to create for herself. She's really focused on accountability. She's really focused on getting her business to a place to where she can have more time freedom by quitting her job. She's really focused on loving on people and their stories. She's really focused on her mindfulness, green light thinking. Like, these are the things she wants to create. We know specifically, economically wise, where we need to get this business so that she can actually start to live the life that she wants to live. In the process, we're going to start working on those things. Now, down here, her current reality, she filled this in. You can see that every single line is filled in. We never want to have a map that has blank spaces. Okay? If they have blank spaces, then those are telling us the areas that we need to focus on. Her top 10 client candidates, these are people that she's already done health assessments with, that are on the fence, that she's going to need to follow up with. Her top 10 coach candidates are here. What I love about this is she's actually doing the work. Tara right here, by the way, who might be on, Sabrina wrote her down on her list. Do you know that Tara just reached senior coach or manager this month? We did this map last month. Now, Tara has moved from being on her coach candidate list now up to a coach. Now Tara's supporting her first 5 people. You see how it works? These people here, eventually we're going to move them up here. So when I look at this map, I say, okay, for us to help Sabrina get to her goals, where are the white spaces in her monthly action plan? The white spaces are here. So this month, guess what we're going to need to focus on? For us to move to executive director, we're going to need to go out and start to bring on some new clients. She has many white spaces here with her coaches. So guess what we need to start to do? We're going to need to start sponsoring more coaches. Why are we going to do these things? Because Sabrina is in touch, in tune. She's been intimate with what she actually, how she wants to live her life. And we are going to go create that by servicing other people first. And as we help them fall in love with building a new life, clients and coaches, eventually she is going to be able to create what she wants to create. Does this make sense, you guys? We can easily create anything that we want in our lives by following simple formulas and doing this thing called the map. This is nothing more than a structural tension chart. Here's another real life example, which is awesome. This is an updated map. You can see for every 5 clients, what this person has done is they picked out who they believe the potential coach is. For every 5 clients, who's the potential coach? For every 5 clients, who's the potential coach? So they're going to be celebrating these people. They're going to be integrating them, and they're going to be rocking it out. Here, so their goal up here is FIBC. They have 1 senior coach team, which is great. Looks like they want to move their frontline volume to about 8,000. We finished at 6,100. So this means we're going to need to start bringing on some clients. Where are the white spaces? right here. But we're going to need to bring on more clients. The white spaces are here. You got to fill up these lines with coaches. And then here, I'm not sure whose map this is, but it's an awesome map. This is great. So again, where are the white spaces? We're going to figure out who the coaches are in this client base, so on and so forth. So let's just say this person's goal is FIBC, fully integrated business coach. And let's say they had a desire, I don't know what they want, but let's just say that for them to start living the lives that they want, we need to start bringing in about $5,500 per month, which becoming FIBC is going to help us to do. So now we just do the work. So we say, well, what am I supposed to do? Well, just look at your activity tracker. We're kind of showing you what we need to do on a daily basis to make these things happen. If we work in structure and we do these every single day, we do it anyway, eventually we're going to move up to these goals. That's just how it happens. So this is how we would draw out that game plan. So you can see that they finished the month with the frontline volume at 7,900. Their group volumes at 16,000. So if we're building out a game plan for them to reach FIBC, this is what it would look like. So in March, they finish at 7,900, almost 8,000. All we're going to do is just start bringing in a few more clients and a few more coaches. So in April, they're going to take a progressive path to create what they want for them lives by helping other people get what they want in their lives. So in April, their front line is going to go to 9,200. They're going to bring on 5 more clients, 2 coaches. In May, it's going to go up over 10,000, 5 more clients, 3 new coaches. In June, they're going to do the exact same thing. And by June, based off of these numbers, we should reach FIBC. So this is how I knew 4 years ago that I would be where I wanted to be now, 4 years later, because all I did was built it out just like this in a step-by-step fashion. And I said, 4 years from now, I should be at a place where I've reached one of my goals. And once I do that, I'm going to take a month's trip to South America. This is how you do it. This is why I'm not surprised when people start creating the things that they want. It's just a progressive fashion. So let's just say this person wants to be global. Well, we would still do the same action steps. And by October, we should be pretty close to being global director. It is consistency every single month. So this person in June, they would reach FIBC. Where would they get their income? They would get about $3,500 a month from their own client base. They would get close to $1,000 from their executive director teams. They have a rolling consistency bonus of $333. They have a team growth bonus in between $300 and $500. So I know that this coach is going to be earning about $5,300 per month. Let's just say they wanted to do this so they can have more time freedom and leave their job. And I could project for them that by June, we should be able to do that. And you should be earning about $64,000 annually. See how it works? So let me get you guys out of here. This week is a really big week for us because we're going to teach you step by step how to, in order for us to do what our mission is, which is to help people create these stories and live these lives that they want, we need more help. Our country is suffering in many, many different ways, physically, mentally, emotionally, certainly financially. There's no question about it. In order for us to really help as many people as we want, we're just going to need way more coaches. There's no other way of putting it. And in order for us to really start to trend towards living the way so many of us want to live, we're just going to need a lot more help. There's only so much that I can do by myself. But if I have a whole bunch of people that has fallen in love and wants to do it with me, Now we can go out there and really make a dent in our population. So we're going to start to train you guys step by step how to do that. And so the process really starts on Tuesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, these are training nights starting at 6 Pacific time or 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And so we're just really going to go in. The first night is going to be introduction to sponsoring. The second night is going to be sponsoring one-on-one. Thursday, we're just going to tie it all together. Friday, we're going to invite. And then Saturday, we're going to have an amazing, amazing exploring health coaching, which is going to be a live event. The event has already been created. So if you haven't been at it, please ask your support team. But every single time that we do this, it's like the world explodes. I know that this thing works. All we have to do is work. We're going to tell you step by step how to do it, and it's going to be amazing. So let's look at week 4 action steps. Man, you guys have been awesome. Thank you guys for sticking around. So this week, it's, we're beginning April tomorrow. So we certainly want to have our maps already printed out and start to become filled out. In order to do that, we also want to marry that and couple that with a new 100s list so that we can start authentic conversations every single day. Get April off to a fast start by starting 3 new clients this week. You guys okay with that? And listen, the only thing that we do is we look for people that are looking for us. It just so happens that thousands, millions are actually looking for us. So it should make getting 3 people started pretty darn simple. We want to start creating a larger coach list. This list is separate from your client list. There's so many, just listen to Justin Aveni. He wasn't on my client list. He was on my coach list. I thought that coaching could really take away a lot of the stress that him and Jenny were having at the time. I didn't look at him necessarily as a client. So there are so many people that are out there that are not your clients right now that would love to coach. Let's start to identify them and make a list. Let's approach 15 of those people this week and simply ask them, hey, I think you'd be amazing at this. Would you be open to exploring it? That's the approach. And so we want to schedule 3 to 5 Explore calls this week. Stay consistent with doing the number one thing that we do, the 3x3x3. If you haven't already watched the map training and got your map ready to go for April, please do that. It's in the files of our Rise Up Bootcamp group. And schedule time with your support team this week to go over that and make a commitment, you guys, to attend all of the sponsoring trainings, because gosh, we're just bringing so much incredible information and value. And if you're not on live, just sort of make a commitment to watch the playback. So there it is, you guys. I kept you longer than I promised. I apologize, but there was a lot to get through. I appreciate this group so much. Thank you so much to the co-host. I hope that this was helpful. Was this helpful to really start to understand what is possible for us? And we don't know what we don't know, but we're getting very, very close. I appreciate you guys so much. Let's finish out the month strong. There are people that are looking for us today. There's no question about it. And then let's come back this week and just rock it out. Have a great day, you guys. We'll talk to you very, very soon.